What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I got a couple minutes before my flight. Actually, literally, I got about 20 minutes before my flight. So I stepped outside of the Sky Club in order to take a couple profile pictures, also to do some cover photos, and then to have this conversation with you guys. Because over the past week, there's been a lot of conversation about women and the community and the black people within the community. And you had the whole Tyree Nichols situation and Jason Whitlock. And then you have to start to ask yourself a couple of questions, right? Because after taking it in its totality, and it's one of the reasons why I kind of like to do a recap of the past week. And I got some clips coming up for y'all from the different conversations that I've had that I think that are important for us to be able to mine through in order to really understand what's been happening over this past week, this past month, and in the beginning of 2023, right? And so the question that I have for you guys today is, are black people cursed? Are black people cursed, right? Before we get into it, I'd like for you to hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and then more importantly, make sure you tap into the Patreon. That link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I have some videos that I'm dropping over the weekend. I'm actually at the airport, as you guys already know, taking a flight over to Jacksonville because I got to go and take care of some business. And then in addition to that, tap into the Alpha Juice Company. That link is down in the description. Also, do not buy the Alpha Juice from the website until you enter the discount code. Anton is the main discount code. And then we go from there. But let's mine through this conversation, right? Are we cursed? First of all, I think a lot of people refers back to biblical days, and I'm not going to deep dive into that because that can be a whole live stream. That could be a 1 to 2 hour conversation and panels and all of this other type of stuff. And maybe I'll include some of the portions of this conversation in a fight club or whatever like that. But when you think about how innovative, how smart, how much faster, all of the inventions, everything that black people have been through throughout our history, and then people try to tie in a lot of different things. And last year you had conversations with Ye and Jewish people and all of that other type of stuff, right? And then you have conversations today with different people, right? And they largely lean into the idea that they are settling for being average or less than average because that's what the majority of the people that they surround themselves are doing, right? And let's think about this for a minute, right? When you say average or being average, right? They don't even equate themselves or compare themselves from an average perspective to the overall general population. They compare themselves to what average is to other black people, even though they live in a world with everybody, right? And I don't understand that, right? I don't understand the mindset behind people that like to substantiate their arguments based off of comparing themselves to average people. I will never, ever, ever, even remotely, not even a little bit, not for 1 second, compare myself to what average is, let alone what average is on a losing group of people. And when I say losing, I'm speaking about it from the perspective of, if you are at the bottom of the totem pole, or you are very, very close to the bottom of the totem pole, the thing that you start to do is you look up. You don't look down to see how many people you're above. You look up to see how much further you can go. A lot of people don't even believe that they can be successful. They don't even believe that they can be a millionaire. Becoming a millionaire is so easy, but they've already accepted their defeat way before they ever even get the wings, way before they ever even get the wind behind themselves, way before they ever really even take off. They've been programmed by each other. And please don't blame it on the system. We're not running in the Victim Olympics today. They've been programmed by each other to accept mediocrity, to accept being less than, to accept you are great if you're better than average of the lowest common denominator. And so I start to ask myself a question because I'm like, yo, why is it so difficult to reach people? Why is it so difficult to convince people to do the right thing? Why is it that no matter where we are, we can be in the UK. I got friends over in the UK that I've been talking to. I got people over in Johannesburg that I've talked to. I even have some people over in Thailand And they like, yo, Anton, over here, black people are ruining things. Now, I understand that black people are not a monolith in the same way that church people are not a monolith and white people are not a monolith, and you can't just put every single person into the conversation, but the stereotypes tend to start to be true when the overwhelming majority of the people that you experience or you see in life is saying the same thing. If I jump on a panel, right? If I start to have conversations with people, if I start mining out or deep diving, or if I go into a completely different country and I remove myself out of America, which I will be taking a lot of international trips. Patreon members, I'm also doing the live meetups every single month this year, starting in March. I'm going to be going to a completely different place every single month in order to be able to meet y'all. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But if everywhere you go, even outside of the country and Western culture and United States of America and all the way up in Canada and all of this other type of stuff, you start seeing the same thing, then that starts to beg the question, are we cursed? I have to ask it. I have to ask it, because why would it be the same everywhere and nowhere is off limits in which you would start to see a group of people unless you go into the different pockets of these certain environments, right? Because there are a lot of black people that are millionaires. There are a lot of successful black people. There are a lot of people that's doing some great things. But then when we come together and then we, as a group, start to have conversations, it always comes back to the lowest common denominator. The culture that we embrace the most is always the most toxic for us. We have to make sure that we lean into the things that are worse for us. We always talking about how it is that we got to deal with the lowest common denominator and all of this. And I don't see that largely from a lot of other cultures. Even cultures that come into the United States as immigrants, they make significantly more progress. Even women by themselves, right? Over the last 50 years have made tremendous strides to their own detriment, right? We're not gonna get into that. That's the Jason Whitlock conversation. But women, to a larger extent, have made tremendous strides as a group when they collectively put their thoughts together, when they collectively work together, even if it's for the worst of us, they make significant progress in that bad thing. And so the only thing that I see from the overall majority of people as a group, I see operating under duress. I see excuses. I see a lack of resources, and they continue to beg other people for resources in order to even be able to survive. When I hear the reparations conversation, I just go ahead and walk away. I just walk away. I don't need anything from anybody except the opportunity in order for me to substantiate myself. The minute that somebody start giving me something, I know that I'm not what I'm supposed to be. I'm not jumping into this reparations conversation right now because I don't feel like it. But my point is that when you start to value yourself more than what your current circumstances and what your environment is, you start to get better results. If you take this particular person and you remove them out of an environment and you no longer expose them to the culture that's the worst for them, they have no choice but to do better. Adapt or die. Adapt or die. And so I need for us to do the thing that's in our own best interest instead of continuing to lean on the system or the people or the excuses. Because at the end of the day, when you get done having a conversation and you on Clubhouse and you on YouTube and you on all of these different platforms, I want to see results and I actually want to grow. Well, I am growing. I want to see results from everybody else. I'm curious as to what y'all thoughts are. Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure you tap into the Patreon, the Alpha Juice Company. I am about to go and get my book bag out of the Delta Sky Club so that I can go and take my flight. I got to go and shoot this interview. And I'm going to tap in with you guys later. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, and turn on your notifications. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's do things a little bit differently. Let's get to better results. And let's stop making excuses.